Hey y'all, I'm gonna be doing some videos today. Got some free time. So, uh, this video is Days of Yore. Old stuff. People like old stuff. Seems like the retro stuff's coming back. Especially when you talk about ARs and that kind of deal. Now, there's a big difference in the generation that I was in when I was a kid versus the generation that's today. I think more kids today are inundated with a multiple variety of firearms rather than what it was when I was a kid. The number one firearm in the houses that I remember was all shotguns. There was a few lever guns, but it was mostly shotguns. Any semi-automatics was like an M1 Grand, the Carbine Williams model, or there was a Browning automatic rifle, and it was a 3 magazine capacity 30-06, if I remember right. There's a few other things like that. So that's what we're talking about, is old guns. So I have it's not going to be a review, it's just going to be something food for thought if you younger people are looking into finding or buying an older gun and what you should think about. Okay, so this is a Model 37 Ithaca Light Feather. These shotguns are very interesting due to the fact they got a long history in the United States. From police departments all over the United States have carried these things. I think LA might be the last one to actually have these. I'm not sure. I'm not a master or nothing. I'm not an expert in anything. Okay. I do remember in the 80s they had these. So there's a big jump between the 80s and now. When you're looking at an old gun like this, or a type of an old gun, the thing that you need to try to remember is, one, it's an old gun. Weapons back then and weapons today are not made the same. There was a lot more hands-on touching of weapons back then than there is today, versus you take a block of material, you put it in a CNC mill machine, you hit the equation, and it does what it's supposed to do. Whereas these were more Smith, hands-on, touch, feel, work action, smooth action, more time put involved in it. So when you look at an old gun like this, one of the things that I would stress is start from either the muzzle or the buttstock. Now, due to the fact that we got a 37 Ithaca here, we're going to pretend like you're purchasing this weapon and you want to make sure that your purchase is valid. So the first thing I would do is I would look at the buttstock, look at the back of it, look at the screws, look at is there cracking around where the screws are? Is there cracking along the stock of the gun? When you get up here, strongly look at, is there any play? Do you see gaps anywhere in here? Do some research on the firearm before you purchase it. Like, look at the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why on the gun, why it was made. Look at, for example, on the 37 Ithaca, you got these 2 screws. Do they look damaged? Is there a lot of wear? Is there a lot of that damage to it? Like, has it been really abused? Your safety, check that out too. Your rivets or pins, you want to make sure they're flush, that they're not gouged, they're not mashed. Like, it has just gone back to a Smith years ago some work's done to it, and you know, some of these guns, the family, the person who owned the gun did the work themselves, so you don't really know what they did. Look at the forearm. Is it smooth? Is there anything getting in the way of the action of the gun? Look at the tube. Is there any pitting? Look for topographical rust on the entire gun itself. On the 37 Ithaca, the way it disassembles is here from the barrel now. Now I'm just talking about the barrel. So you'll turn this down, and then you will rotate the barrel, and the barrel will come off. When you're looking at the barrel, definitely, you know, from first appearance, look at the outside. What kind of damage do you see? Now this one is in pristine condition because I know where it came from. I know the owner, and I know who the owner is now, which is me. Look at the inside of the barrel with the light. So take your cell phone, turn the light on. Look for any pitting. Look for any extensive wear. So, like perhaps, for example, you had someone who never cleaned the thing. He just ran shell after shell after shell through it. So be mindful of that. Next thing is some of these older guns, the barrel has threading. Those threads have to mate up with the receiver. So look for excessive wear on that, maybe damaged threads, maybe improperly installed, and the person or persons really put a lot of power into getting the barrel to fit back into the receiver. So be careful of that. Where the action is, the pump action, look here where the stock is. Is that stock cracked on the inside in any way? There's a ring right there, and then you have this ring up here. So you want to be mindful of, are they showing any wear? Are they showing any damage? Like, has this been twisted and it's got gouges in here? This will move, by the way. I just showed you in the video. I moved it back. So you have to be mindful of these older guns and how they work. They don't work the same as modern guns today. Also, the threads inside the receiver. On a 37 Ithaca, it only has one action bar. Okay, and that's always been a downfall of a 37 Ithaca. Because it's only got one action bar, if this bar breaks, then you don't have a functioning weapon. Note that on 37 Ithaca, it has no ejection port and has no loading port. Everything is ejection and loading port under. So where it feeds is where it unloads, where it discards the shells. These guns are very nice, these old guns, but you have to be mindful of they're old. So if you have something that is broken, you may have a huge problem trying to get it repaired. You'll have to take this to someone who's actually got some years under the belt, an actual smith that has done these type of old weapons before. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just like anything else. You need to be mindful of what it is that you're wanting to do. If it's for nostalgic reasons, like, or a video game thing, so, there's some guys that they get kind of video game crazy about firearms. That's cool. That's fine if that's what it is. But before you squeeze the juice and buy old guns, talk to people who own them, who have a history behind it, like, or maybe you got someone who's an M1 Grand Nut, or an M1 carbine or lever action or a Model 37 Ithaca and see what the background is. Let's say, for example, on the Ithaca, you want to buy another barrel. So, to give you some kind of information on that, you can't just buy a 37 Ithaca barrel and put it on your 37 Ithaca pump action shotgun. The reason why is because you have to look at serial dates. You have to look at the number on the gun and find out if it precedes a certain serial number. I can't remember the numbers, but if like for example, I did look this one up. I cannot get an updated barrel on this because it's predates that serial number. So if you got a serial number that is, for example, and I'm not telling you it is what it is. I'm just telling you from reading about this. You can get a barrel, but the barrel has to be made after a certain year. So when you buy old guns like this, let's say you want to get a slug gun for it with adjustable rear and front sights, you know, leaf spring sight. You can do that, but you have to check before you buy if that barrel is compatible with your receiver, even though it's made for a 37 Ithaca. You still have to check. Guns back then and guns today, once again, there's a lot more hands-on back then than there is today. Just be mindful of that, just some food for thought. If you've got old weapons like this, do videos of them. So, be back direct with some more.